Hello, hello. Welcome to the Eddie Conversation Podcast. My name is Eddie V. Hill, and I am your host. This is episode number 85.
Whoop, whoop.
And joining me today is Sylvia Ray.
Hello, Eddie.
Hello.
Hello again.
Sylvia is a director.
Yes. I'm a
A
director.
writer.
I'm a writer.
Okay. And you have, I guess it'd be good to rattle off a little bit of
What
yeah,
I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like most filmmakers, I do wear multiple hats. I primarily identify as a director. That's my main jam. That's my passion, is directing. I write, I produce, I edit, and dabble in color and other things. But mostly I'm a writer-director. Yeah.
And if I recall correctly, the one department in filmmaking you do avoid entirely, completely, if I'm correct, is sound.
Yeah, sound. I mean, I tried to learn about it a little bit. It really goes over my head. It really does. And so I avoid that. And I also avoid talking to SAG
Great.
as a producer.
You hand that off to somebody else.
Yeah. But I'm hearing it's getting easier now.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't do that either.
Oh,
No,
lucky.
please. Anybody else take care of that besides me?
Yeah. But I mean, I really appreciate people who do that for my films. So.
Yes, thank you. Okay. I'm trying to figure out, I was thinking about where to start because you've been on the show before. Episode 59, everybody. We had a kind of like a mini panel of Through the Blinds directors, which is the anthology film.
Yep.
Anthology feature comprised of you know how to describe this better than
It's 7 directors that each are directing a segment within a feature film, and it takes place in one home through the decades from the 50s to the 2000s, before pre-pandemic. And so we follow this house and the high turnover of the different families that go through, and we discuss, or the stories involve women's relationship to their home and their fears, and what their home means to them. So yeah, we've been working on that for a while, and it's trucking along. So
okay,
yeah.
Maybe, and if we could, I don't know, if just get that out of the way initially here.
Yeah.
Any teases on what the latest is or how that's going, or?
Right. Yeah. So we are heavily in the casting phase and investor phase. So I have we've hired a casting director, and he's going out to some of our talent that we'd like to attach, that will hopefully bring in some investors.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, great. So I guess just to clarify for the viewers, last time we did speak on the podcast, it was during the crowdfunding phase, and that was to get the seed money to be able to do this sort of prep work.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then the idea is utilize casting director, get cast. And that's kind of like the whole chicken or the egg scenarios. Like, does the casting attract the funding? Does the funding attract the cast? And you're all just trying to.
It's like, what comes first is like the name producer, the name director, the name, or the name actor. So we had a very successful crowdfunding campaign, partially thanks to you. Like we sat and we talked with you. And we've used that money to do some location scouts, and to really narrow down what our budget would be overall, which has been extremely helpful. And then going out to casting directors and finding who would be appropriate for our project. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. I'd be curious to see all that play out, because it's, I don't know, my producer brain, it sounds like it could be anywhere from, I'm not gonna say numbers out loud, but it seems like the budget range seems like it's so varying that I'm like, it seems pretty intense.
Yeah, I mean, just like with any project too, like you can make something for the small amount, or like these films can really range. And I feel like we got to a number where we're comfortable as first feature directors, and then with the cast that we want to have, and also the production design that takes place with like going through the decades. But luckily, it's all in one home. It's contained. There's a lot that makes it more practical to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So let's talk about you as a director aside from the Anthology collab
Mhm.
project. I guess because I know we've been keeping in touch a little bit about like what's the name of the film? I've got it right here. Is it Our Late Father? Is
Yeah,
the
Our
most
Late
recent? That's
Father.
the most recent project.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So I know you had vocalized that there are some lessons learned through that
Oh,
process, and
always.
no, for
Yeah,
sure,
there's
for
always a
sure.
lesson learned, I think, with each project. And so, Our Late Father is a pilot for a web series that was brought to me by a writer, creator, and actor. And so the project that I did prior to that was called Preggers, and that was similar. It was a writer actor who was bringing me on board to collaborate. And luckily, with both projects, the writer has been very flexible with working with me in order to get it to a place where I felt confident in shooting it and putting it out into the world with my name on it as a director.
Mm-hmm.
And then hope that it will have a successful festival run, because as a filmmaker, I watch a lot of shorts and I've seen the things that work and what don't, or things that have a harder time getting into festival versus not. And so I talk with my writer creators, and like I ask them or I tell them my concerns, and it's like a little dance. Like we work with each other to get it to a place where we both feel confident, where they don't feel like their words are all like deleted, and I feel like that I feel proud to put my name on it as a director. So that's been really cool to have that learning process with different creators, to direct their work. It's been a really interesting journey for sure. And so now Our Late Father is almost at the end of post. I'm working with an illustrator and animator and trying to get a nice title sequence together. And then just wrapping up with music and the final mix. And then it'll go out to festivals.
Okay.
Yeah.
An illustrator and animator to do a title
I
sequence.
know. Yeah.
Was this you or was this
This
producer
was
actor?
me. I mean, it was a combination of us all just thinking like, how can we make this as strong as we can? Like you know, we want to make an impact, and for the big opening, we were feeling like something was missing, and it being a series. We thought it would be a good idea to do a title sequence or something that kind of like tells the audience the tone of the film, like kind of a little bit of the story that they're about to see. And with that, principal photography being done and not having any more money,
Sure, sure.
we weren't going to go out and shoot anything. And so it was a matter of pooling my resources and seeing how I can get something done for a very little amount, to be honest. And luckily, I have a really good boyfriend that's an illustrator.
Thank you, friend's
Yeah,
boyfriend.
and my husband knows how to like animate things and build out things, and so together we're working on making that, and it's pretty fun. Yeah, we have a nice music cue going on in there, and it really does. And I ended up putting it at the end of the first scene, so it kind of breaks up these two different scenes that really, I think, works really well. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's almost like because okay, so this is like a almost like a pilot episode of a
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
And have you worked through this type sort of animation before or
Yeah. So on my project called In Limbo, we did an animated sequence that was towards the tail end of the pilot episode of the film, and it didn't have an animated title sequence necessarily. It just had In Limbo, and it was animated, and then it went away. And then later, my characters talk about purgatory and hell, and like talk about mountains of like dead people and stuff like that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and so I'm like, how am I gonna visually tell that story? And so we opted with the animated sequence, and it's funny because it cuts in between where the characters are like asking dumb questions, and then it goes back to the animated
Oh, gotcha.
sequence.
So
Yeah,
it's like really intense, chopped with. Like, so is yeah, the I could, yeah, it's going from intense to joke to intense
yeah,
to
yeah.
kind of
I mean, the animation was also like a little Beavis and Buttheady.
goofy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I loved working. Well, I have enjoyed working with animation, but it's not my like goal to work in as a director in animation. But it's been fun to incorporate in my films.
Yeah, it seems similar to me like VFX work almost, where it's
Yeah.
like I don't know. I haven't dabbled in animation before, so I guess that's why I'm curious. But
Mhm.
like same with like VFX with like I know for my sophomore effort feature film, we had one sequence. And when it came to post production, when we're shopping for VFX artists and they're asking me questions, like, so
Oh,
what do you want on the thing? And I'm like,
yeah.
wait, what are our options? And it's like, well, it's visual effects. You can kind of
Do it
do
all.
whatever you want. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, wait, I have to.
Direct.
Oh, shucks.
Give direction. No, yeah, it is really like fun, I think, because there are so many options and tools, I think, that we can use to tell our stories. And when you're doing like a sci-fi thing, like it's nice to know like you can bring on a visual effects artist and hopefully I worked with a visual effects artist on Preggers and on My Human Experience, which My Human Experience was a sci-fi comedy. And so we just it just to sell the world it just needs to we need to see something that is a little bit extra outside of like the grounded world.
Yeah, because I mean,
um
I got to see that one.
oh
That's
yeah,
the one. Yeah,
yeah.
it's, yeah.
Oh, that's what we saw in New York.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
went to New York City, and at
Hmm.
the same, it just happenstance that you were there at a film festival,
Yeah,
and
randomly in New York.
all right, let me swing by. So I got to watch it. Yeah, there's like a moment. They're like aliens, right? Are they
Hmm.
from the future? Aliens?
They're aliens, yeah.
Yeah, they land and they have like that classic wrist, and
Uh-huh.
that was like one of the moments where she's talking. Receiving a message from like her boss or something,
Yeah, uh-huh.
and then she's looking at the thing and it has. And I think I don't know. Maybe I was going through your Instagram. Is there like a clip on there or something? I found it somehow. I was
Yeah,
re-looking at it recently.
yeah, she has this like mannequin character that's teaching her how to say hello in a in human, and so she gets like hello mixed up with flipping the bird.
Classic.
Yeah, and so but you see this little character coming out of her watch that's like in her face, and she's like, okay, yeah, I got
Yeah,
it, I got it, I'm an
yeah,
expert at speaking human.
yeah. No, there's some fun moments in that one.
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking that was strictly the visual effects side, where it was like one angle. It was like you have to get the close up of the wrist with the thing coming out, and then
Yeah.
you have the reverse where she's still talking at it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, this is yeah,
It was planned out. Like, I mean, that was, I think that was, it wasn't the first time I used visual effects, but I know like it can be so much more expensive and more difficult if you don't plan. And so I worked with the visual effects artist to see how I could shoot it most efficiently for him to do, because we didn't have the funds to like go frame by frame on a moving shot or whatever, you know.
mm-hmm.
But anywho, yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun to learn about it and to learn about animation too.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Great. I guess my mind is thinking about like the topic I want to get to here just briefly, just to get this out of the way, if I may. Is let's see. I'm trying to figure out what I want to lead in this with. Okay.
And you don't edit? I'm like, how? Okay, go ahead.
No, it just goes. It just goes. It happens. All right. So the thought is, I do edit,
Oh, okay,
but
good.
not the podcast.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Okay.
um. Okay. Directing, pursuing the
Yes.
director path.
Yes.
I had last time we chatted on the podcast, there was a question about like finding your voice, and
Mm-hmm.
we didn't really talk too much about the breaking through as a director and
Mm.
the the steps that we take. And it's like, all
Yeah.
right, let's start with making a short, and then all right, well, let me get a bigger budget short. Let me
Mm-hmm.
play with VFX. Let me play with this, and you kind of build up the skill set. And like you've dabbled in plenty of other departments too, like you work in post production,
Mm-hmm.
so you have the forethought of like what you're getting now, how it's going to cut later.
Yeah.
That's very helpful as a director, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess clarifying maybe what the current goal is for you, and then I don't know if you want, I know we're talking about like how you're feeling today specifically. I don't know if that plays into all of that, but
Yeah. I was saying to you earlier, like I said, I'm normally an optimistic filmmaker. Um, and I'm an indifferent filmmaker right now. I wouldn't say I'm being negative these days.
pessimistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not pessimistic right now. I'm just like, just like doing the daily, working, and just putting one foot in front of the other at the moment. But yeah, no, right now my focus is finding my voice in my writing. So I'm writing a feature. I'm rewriting my feature film called The Middle. As I am pulling my pulling two projects, maybe more than two projects, up a big mountain of getting greenlit. Like my first feature film, which I'm attached to, is called I Blame Juliet. And I've been working on I Blame Juliet for several years, and you know, pre 2020, and it's gone through several series of producers. And at the moment, we are partially financed, which I'm happy to say, but we're not fully financed yet. And so it's a matter of finding more investors, attaching cast.
And that one is a feature.
Yeah, I Blame Julia is a feature film set in New Mexico. It's going to be shot in a really cool theater called the Rio Grande Theater in Las Cruces, New Mexico. It's a ultra low budget feature rom com with some magical elements in it. Yeah, I didn't write it, but I really fell in love with it, the script, and I could relate to it because it involves a girl who overcomes her feelings of um, unworthiness and feelings of stage fright, which I feel a little bit right now, to be honest. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she overcomes these to take the spotlight and own her voice. Oh, that's the overall theme of it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it involves the stage play, Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, and the spirit of Juliet makes an appearance here and there, which is really fun. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And so that one is just, I'm trying to get it off the ground,
Yeah.
get it made. I have a lot of aspects ready, like where we're going to shoot, how we're going to shoot it. I have my cinematographer, Jesse Wine, on board. And it's just a matter of getting the money and learning all about that. And it's kind of this, like at the same stage as the anthology that we were talking about earlier. So,
Okay. Yeah. So you're tugging that one. You're tugging some other ones too. You kind of mentioned.
yeah. So, our late father, let's talk about the broad picture,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
So our late father, going to be done in post, going to go into the festival circuit. I'm writing. And then the anthology, we're looking for investors. I Blame Juliet, we're looking for investors and cast for both. I'm also attached to a feature called The Bride of Bishop, which is a really cool project set in Los Angeles, in the Chavez Ravine where the Dodger Stadium is. And it's kind of like a historical look at what happened with the people who were living in that area prior to the Dodger Stadium being built. And there's a lot into it that goes into it, but overall it centers around a married couple and their connection to the place. But yeah, I'm attached to that as a director. We have a really cool team of producers and cinematographer Maricela Mendez. And basically, that one right now is in development stage. And so the writer is churning out drafts. She's so young and like energetic, and she has been churning out drafts, and we are providing notes to get it as strong as possible. Um, so that's another project. So it's just right now, I guess overall, you could see the broad picture of me as a director is focusing on getting features off the ground,
Yeah.
taking that step away from shorts and short form content into features.
And then regarding those that's three features you mentioned. There's the New
Mm-hmm.
Mexico one, there's the Los Angeles one, then there's the Anthology one.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all different pockets of teams, right? Like you
Yeah.
mentioned two different DPs.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, I'm assuming the producing partners are also different
They're
for all
all
that.
different.
Interesting,
Yeah.
interesting.
And I don't know how that ended up being happening. I like collaborating with people. Bride of Bishop, I got on through Marco Parra, who was in Preggers, who's the creator of Preggers. And so that I like working with him. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's so they're all three different collaboration partners. Like, and so it's been really interesting because whatever I learn in this group of people, I apply it to here and then vice versa.
yeah.
Yeah.
That seems to me very cool. And
It's been cool. Yeah, I do like, everybody has their strengths, and so I learn from each project for sure.
yeah, because I like the way that you laid it out because it's very much how I see myself too. It's like, all right, let's put it all out there ready. Because when people ask me too, it's like, what are you trying to do? And I'm
You're
like,
like,
all right,
oh my God.
let me put it all out on the table here.
Uh-huh.
I'm writing a feature.
Yeah.
I'm writing the feature. I've got the two projects in post. I've got
Hmm.
Sojourn, the short film, the 50K short film. That's
Yeah.
how I describe it. That's the first time I got like a decent budget for a short.
Yeah.
And then there's the feature that we did super ultra low in New Mexico the year before that. And those
Mm.
both completed at the same time. So they're both in the fest push right now.
Yeah.
So essentially finished. And then it's like, oh, we have all these other scripts that we're sitting on too.
Hmm.
And it's like, which one do I want to be pushing? What am I making now? Like I don't know, like I shot like a
Yeah.
little baby one day short this last
Oh,
weekend.
fun.
Just, I called it like more therapy, a sanity piece is what I was
Yeah.
calling it.
Now let me ask you the same question. Do you have the same team on each of those projects?
Um, so between the short and the feature, it was different producing team.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving forward, I'm trying to do the similar thing. It's like, all right, I liked working with you.
Mm-hmm.
What can we work on next together? Trying to keep that train moving.
Yeah.
Because when you find something good, you know,
Yeah, when you have a good working relationship, yeah, you don't want to break it for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah. But I do like the idea of having the different pockets because if it feels like the having all the eggs in one basket is a little risky. It's like, all right, if one person's slacking off, then the whole train slows down
Right. That's
versus
true.
like,
Yeah.
all right, if these people are slacking, at least these people are moving. It's a little,
Yeah.
I kind of like the sound of that. I should branch out.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is I like having multiple projects going too because you never know really which one's going to go first. And you're right, like if one is at a full stop, at least there's a couple that are like going.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
that. And I know I just on the podcast a couple weeks ago, I had this producer on named Lisa Cernic,
Hmm.
and she is making the transition from her journey was she did the agent route first, like she was training
Mm.
to be an agent at like I don't know, one of the big agencies, I forget what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And then she transitioned into like being a producer's assistant, into executive producing a big multi-million
Oh
dollar
wow.
feature,
Mm-hmm.
into producing smaller projects, into now
Being
trying
the
to
lead producer.
now trying to be a director
Oh wow.
and producer. So she's still leaning into the producer hat a lot. Where she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've got 10 projects currently that she's trying to get off the ground.
Wow.
So even when you have, as directors, when we're working with our producer team on this one
Mm-hmm.
feature, they're probably
They have a
working,
slate of
they've
films for
got,
sure.
so
Yeah, that's my meeting that I had today.
yeah, let's hear about it.
Having it was a little bit like disheartening, but um, you know, in all of the departments like actors, directors, writers, producers, like, it's really like basically what that person was saying is like you need to have like a star one of these things, like a producer that has clout, a director that has clout, an actor that has clout. But the thing about finding producers that to work with, it's so much like dating. It's hard to kind of like know what that person can bring unless you work with them too, because people can say a lot of stuff.
This is Los Angeles, not
Yeah.
Hollywood.
And then so it does feel like a little bit for me like testing the waters with different producing teams. Although, I feel like I have been lucky with my collaborations, but have I met my like ride or die producer that's gonna go with me to the end? I'm not sure.
I
Um,
feel you there. I feel
yeah,
you
and
there.
there's also when you meet producers that you vibe with, they have 10 projects that they are like throwing everything at. So it's hard to like me too, and jump in on that train also. So, yeah, it's been an interesting learning experience for sure, learning more about the feature development process and getting features greenlit and off the ground, and working with different producers and, yeah, the different
Um,
kinds of producers.
yeah. So I guess I don't know. I don't know how much we want to dig into your actual call, but
My call?
but I'm
Yeah. Oh,
thinking,
my phone call.
yeah, the phone call you had
Yeah.
because it's more like it sounds like you're trying to find somebody to add to a team, or you're hoping somebody was gonna jump on a project, or was somebody like I was trying to gauge like is it
Hmm.
somebody that's already on a project and they had bad news, or
No. Yeah. So
okay,
this is someone that I was just wanting to catch up with, that may or may not be able to help me, that I just wanted to see what they were up to and if there is something there where maybe
yeah,
he has investors, maybe he has like a connection to a producer that's looking for a project or whatever. So it's just one of those things where we were just catching up and getting to know each other. And then so I told him about my projects, and yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like he told me straight, like you need this, you need that. It's not going to work out if you do this, and which is I do
yeah, yeah.
appreciate, but it's not like it's different from like you should try this. Let me connect you with this person. It was more so like it was more so like you have a hard time coming, kind of call,
Uh-huh.
which is not really nice to hear all the time or swallow. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, he was telling me the truth, so I just have to take that advice and
I mean, I don't know. That's the easy advice to give, really. It's like,
yeah.
hey, my job would be a lot easier if you got Elijah Wood on board. It's like, oh, you don't say. Thank you for the.
Yeah, it's like
That's.
you should submit to the blacklist. I'm like, oh, thanks. No, that kind of advice always
Have you
comes
thought
through.
about
Like,
attracting?
yeah,
Yeah.
like get into one of the programs, like Sundance program. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll submit to those. Thanks.
Have you? Yeah. No, because I know. Because I've had similar calls recently too with catch ups with previous collaborators in the similar vein, where it's like, all right, it's like this person is kind of like. I feel like there's potential on there's similar to what you just said is like there
Hmm.
may be connection to other money
Yeah, yeah.
through this connection, and it's like, all right, let's see, let me throw out my stuff, see if let me just get a vibe, and it's like, oh, you're not really too interested in st- actually stretching your connections for
Yeah.
what we got going on,
Yeah.
or or it's like, oh, it was great working with you on this thing, let's see how the future looks, and then they explain their plans and I explain
Hmm.
my plans and they're not the same at all. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
shucks, man, I thought we had something here and we're not on the same
Yeah.
page whatsoever. But
It's also one of those things too where yeah, if they're not willing to stretch their connections, which is fine, like if there is someone else that comes in mind that I should just meet, then, it's nice to like offer like that person up, but it's also you don't want to ask for too much, it's a weird little delicate like dance
yeah, because the
that we're
worry
always
is we're worried about losing the connection we already have, right?
yeah, you don't want to like like use somebody just because they know XYZ or whatever. It's like, let's connect on a personal level. And then if it vibes, if you're interested in my projects or if you're interested in me as a filmmaker, then maybe we can help each other out somehow. But yeah, you get told in meetings, it's all about your connections, and you go, like I'm connecting with you.
This is what we're doing right
Yeah,
now.
I know it's about connections. This is Hollywood. So, that's what we're doing. Anywho.
Yeah. I feel that. Okay, you. Okay. Yeah. So I feel like I've been in a similar. I don't know. We're not. I'm not.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wrapped on this feature in Lake Tahoe recently.
Hmm.
I was the AD on that one.
Right.
So, as we know on the show, because everybody knows what an AD does, maybe, probably not,
I think
but
at episode 85, maybe they should know.
maybe. But yeah, I was running the schedule, and it's not a creative position. It's
Mhm.
a let's get the day done position.
Yeah.
So essentially, I was craving to make something,
Oh.
but it also really drained me.
Hmm.
It's very taxing. I think I counted a lot more gray hairs on my beard after
Yeah.
that gig.
Yeah.
Um,
Very useful role. Very useful role.
100% needed role.
Needed. Yeah.
You can't make a movie without somebody in that position doing a good job.
Yeah.
Um,
So how
yeah,
do you feel like you did?
I thought I did great.
Oh, good. That's
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
I thought I did great. Oh, I did good, and I thought I maintained because I'm a chill vibe guy.
Hmm.
So I maintain my chillness even in stressful situations, but I
Yeah.
still like a lot of it's internalized and it's more like not I don't project it out on the team and stuff. I don't go
Right.
yelling and all that,
Yeah.
but
No.
I'm sure there's a lot of processing and
Oh, our
it's
brains do a lot.
yeah, it's still stressful.
Yeah. I
So
can
I
see that.
guess after I wrapped, Christmas time hit, and then I was like, I just need to recover and I
Yeah.
just need to chill. And we're beginning of February right now, and I've been procrastinating all the way through January essentially. I'm like, I just, I don't have it right now.
That's okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, I need, yeah,
Yeah. It's a process. I feel like it's all part of the process. And the holidays always hits us like, you know, heavily. And you were on set for 22 of those days. So, yeah, I feel like yeah, after every project we get a little bit like and then we need a little bit of time to recoup and get that like going, the juices going. But
yeah, and I know it's hard. It feels like it's harder to get the juices going when it is the stuff that we're talking about. With it's like, all
when
right,
it's
well,
not as fun.
I need to find investors and
You're
do
right.
my pitch decks and get meetings set. Like
Yeah.
that's not something I'm practiced in or know well. So it's
Hmm.
a lot of work just to figure out how to even like,
Do it.
yeah, how to all that
Yeah, I
stuff.
mean, it's definitely a learning process, and then you do it, and then you talk to a producer, and they're like, "You're not doing it right." Anyway, but it's essential. Like as filmmakers, I feel like for us to learn this part of the process. Otherwise, we're going to be running in circles, like going into debt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like because this is essential and because it's my passion, that I just have to learn how to do it or meet a bunch of people until I
Mm-hmm.
meet the right person or just get it done. And if I can't get a 400K rom-com off the ground, like how am I going to make the other things
Get
that
your
I have?
$4 million rom com off the ground
Yeah.
later. Yeah. So what I wanted to I'll probably edit this out. It's a whole new clip. It's fine. I can.
Yeah.
Um, I want to. This is kind of what I would like to switch gears and jump into, if I
Sure.
may,
Yes, you may.
is talking a little bit more about the editing
Mm-hmm.
background. Because I haven't had. I don't think I've had any straight up editors. So you're like the closest you're the
Oh,
closest.
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'd be curious to hear because I script supervise a lot,
Yeah, that's right.
and as a script supervisor, my notes go to editors, and
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like my whole job
Mm-hmm.
is streamlining, bridging the communication line between
Director.
what's happening on set and trying to communicate best I can to the post production team,
Mm-hmm.
and also when the director goes over to that chair too, having this document that kind of help us just re-jog memories and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. Um, we're talking a little bit off camera on the kind of stuff that you've been editing lately.
Mm-hmm.
But just want to clarify: do you do you work with script supervisor notes a lot, or can I throw questions at you regarding
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Okay,
I do get scripty notes, and they are helpful. Um,
they are not helpful. That's
you
what I
don't
want.
think they're
No, I'm
helpful?
just kidding. I just wanted you
Oh,
to say that.
no, they are sometimes helpful. I think it depends, like, not everything the script supervisor gives me is something that I use, but I do look at the circle takes. I do look at the notes if it had to been like if blocking was messed up or a prop was messed up. But yeah, they can be very helpful.
Okay, so I guess the question is, what are helpful notes?
Hmm.
What are helpful notes, and what are and then is there like a like when you receive them, you're kind of like, oh, this is not, this is like, what is an unhelpful versus helpful, I guess is the
Yeah.
question.
Circle takes one, so I don't have to watch all the takes.
Yeah.
And then number two, like, if it's a no-go shot or if it's something where it's not usable, like prop was in the wrong hand.
I'm gonna pause. You have a little,
Oh,
there you go. You had a little doggy hair on your
oh,
nose. All right,
okay.
continue.
Like when something doesn't have, like when the prop is in the wrong hand, so the shot is not usable, for example. Just basically when notes are streamlining the work that I have to do as an editor to dig through all the footage. Like if it's like, don't dig through this, dig through this. That's what's helpful to me um, initially. Now, that doesn't mean as an editor, I don't go look at the shots afterwards, but when I create my first assembly, it really streamlines that process, which is the hardest part of, I think, the process is getting that, or at least most time consuming part is to get that first assembly done. But later on down the line, if a take isn't working or if something's not working, I do look at the rest of the footage to try to piece
Yeah,
together. Yeah.
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 Okay. So just clear. So circle takes. That's circle takes is super easy.
Yeah.
That's that's
And I
that's.
mean, you do a lot more as script supervisors, I know. But that's what I look
Yeah,
at.
struggle takes for sure because you're
Uh-huh.
trying to get the assembly done. You're like, all right, start with these, and it's normally the last ones anyway. It's like,
Yeah,
but I'm
it's
sure.
normally the last ones.
But yeah, clarifying because I know I just came off of a I don't recall doing many notes on this latest project I just came off of, but
Mm-hmm.
I did a 1 day thing. I think what I like. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm doing my job right over here. But no,
That's okay. No, I mean, we can chat more about like as an editor, working with directors has helped me really learn about the way I direct too. And like because everybody is different. I feel like there's no like competing, we're better or they're better or whatever. It's more of like, um, for me as an editor, finding what I like about how people directed things and then just applying that to what I do.
yeah,
Yeah, so it is nice, because I enjoy editing now. I don't know if I enjoyed it in the beginning, but I enjoy it now.
yeah. And how long? How when did you jump into editing?
um, been doing it like 5 to 7 years, something like that. I don't
Okay, and
even
when did you
remember.
start enjoying it?
I would say the last couple years.
Okay.
Yeah, it took
Is
me a while.
is it because like the projects you were receiving started getting better too, or like the people that were involved in
I
them
think
were
the
more enjoyable?
like the breakthrough of like feeling confident in software and like feeling confident in my skills and then the collaborators that were coming to me. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
combination of it all.
yeah, it helps.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, how do you? Because the thing about being an editor
Hmm.
is you're not seeing the process on set.
But I can sometimes hear it and see it.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Are you talking about like when they roll through and
Yeah.
do give all their notes
Yeah.
during the? Yeah,
Directors, when they come over and like they don't want to hear their voices, they're like, just like go to the clip. Yeah, no, I can hear director notes to actors sometimes between takes or between when they keep rolling and they're doing like a sequence or whatever or
yeah,
series.
yeah.
Yeah. Why? You get nervous about that?
No, 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 no. No, as a script supervisor, it's like a pet peeve of mine when
Oh,
directors just roll,
yeah.
and I'm like the editor. This is just it's killing the storage. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if what we're shooting at 6K or 4K or whatever the thing may be. It's because directors often think they're being more efficient with their time. I think is why they roll through
Mm-hmm.
and just it's like action. You do the thing. It's like all right, don't cut, don't cut, don't cut. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
just give some quick notes.
Yeah.
Just keep rolling. The note is like a one line note, and then it takes 2 minutes.
Yeah, I
they,
mean,
they,
I think it can be faster to do
it's
a
not just
series.
cut. Just cut. It can
I do
be
series sometimes.
if it's just a look. If it's just like a
Yeah.
glance, it's like I just need you to pick up the cup, take a sip, and go. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's like all right, just do it once. All right,
Yeah, that
now
makes
go
sense.
again.
Hmm.
But if it's a 2 minute scene, and
Yeah.
just say cut.
I guess it depends. Yeah, it definitely depends. But those
Okay.
little moments I do sequences a lot or series a
No,
lot.
that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. Because it makes it hard for me to do my job too. Because the
Mm.
notes, it's hard. It's easier to separate take one from take two to take three
Hmm.
versus like take one. The fourth time they did the
Yeah.
thing, and this, if they keep going, the notes are just
Yeah.
like a big. It's like it doesn't. It's just not helpful. I'm trying to be helpful to you as the editor.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And it's like I don't know.
yeah.
How do you describe a pet? I don't know. It's so janky.
Yeah, I guess I could see how
Pet
that could be
peeves.
frustrating.
Pet peeves. Well, I'm thinking about the whatever. It's frustrating for everybody, I think.
Yeah. But anywho, yeah, I like editing. Um, and editing I feel like it also gives me a sense of patience while I am focusing on my directing career. Editing brings in money. Have my clients that I work with, and they're getting happy. They're happy with my work, and so it's fulfilling. It makes me happy, and so I get a sense that I don't get that like daunting dread feeling from solely relying like all of my fulfillment from directing because I think that could be soul sucking.
Yeah. Or even vice
Yeah,
versa.
or even vice versa. Yeah, it's nice to have it's nice to have a couple things going, a couple hamsters in a wheel.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. I say that
Hmm.
about script supervising, as if I was just script supervising, I'd
Mm,
probably be dying
yeah. Yeah,
because
I feel that way about editing too.
I'm like, in the indie world at least, I'm working with first time directors all the time, and
Mm,
I'm over here thinking that
judging them.
yeah well I'm
Just
like
kidding.
sometimes it takes experience. You have to get multiple reps and multiple things. You don't know, it's hard to know
Hmm.
even who you are the first time you're on set as a director. You're just learning all this stuff,
Hmm.
and you're overwhelmed by everything. You don't, what does this person do, and how are you helping me, and how do
Hmm.
I give direction, and what do I want, and what's the shot. And sometimes things get simpler on set sometimes as you get more experience. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Either way, it's having the script supervise and then make stuff on the side or push
Hmm.
this and do that and edit a thing.
I do think that it's a good thing to have multiple hats, multiple things that you can do. I mean, actors get told this all the time,
Let's hear it.
like that I've heard friends who have go to SAG meetings and things like that, and they're just talking about how they can't just rely on the income of acting anymore because it's hard. Like with all the streamers and the deals that are going on, they don't get paid as much as they used to. And so they can't make a living. And so they have to write or they have to do this, they have to do XYZ, they direct. Um, and so I think, with some of the main or some of the not main roles, but the roles like director, actor, writer, I feel like people really have a, a better time, I guess, diversifying their skill set. Or at least for me personally, it has been beneficial for my mindset and my collaborations um, and just fulfillment overall.
Yeah. I was also thinking you kind of said it, but also didn't. I was thinking like mental health, and
Mental health, yeah, yeah.
it's just, yeah, you kind of said it, but I just wanted to,
Yeah, well, money is a big deal. Like
I
when you're not
guess,
making money doing what you want
stressful.
to love, like directing, it's nice to have another wheel going where you do get that income. So, yeah. What other questions you have for me, Eddie?
Next question. Next question. I want to
Shoot.
hear about how you approach as a director. Because, like, let's say you talked about your Preggers film.
Preggers, yeah.
That project finished end of 2021 and kind of had its run through 2022. Is that correct? Or
Yeah, I like ended, think I finished it in January 2022. I think I was submitting prior to that. I was just
Okay.
waiting on a final mix from the sound grant that I got, and
Oh,
that they
nice.
were just like they're not they were just taking their time with me because I didn't pay them. I got a grant, so anyway, I would say Prager's finished mostly in January of 2022, and then we had our festival run the whole rest of the year.
Yeah, because I mean, even just looking at your Instagram per se, like
Mm.
the festivals, it seems like it's doing well on the festival circuit.
Yeah,
Congratulations,
thank
very
you.
cool.
Hmm.
But like you get to go to these in-person festivals and you're sitting doing like the Q&As at the end of the screenings and stuff.
Hmm.
How is that?
It's fun. I mean, I feel like festivals are hit or miss, and for the most part, I go in just wanting to or hoping that it'll be a fun time, that I'll meet cool people, and that it will be at least have like an audience. Because it's that's one of the things with festivals. Like sometimes the audience might not be there, and sometimes it's packed. So um, it's been great either way having preggers get into multiple festivals. And then yeah, so I think preggers was with festivals. My goal was to get into like the next step festival. Yeah, just like at least with every project, like I don't need to be a Sundance like audience winner or whatever at this moment. Like I would love that,
I
but
mean, it'd be nice, but
it would
yeah.
be very nice. But I want my projects to at least like uh, push the envelope a little bit of where my career is at that point in time. So I feel like Preggers did that, and I'm really proud of it. And it was a fun overall process with the people I was
It's
working
not
with.
out publicly yet, right?
It's not out publicly, but it's going. It's just we just licensed it to Avenida TV. So Avenida is a Latinx production company, and now they're going to be distributors, I guess, to stream on multiple platforms. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I think they're going to launch sometime this year.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just bought the license to the song that I had at the end credits that I was like, I didn't want to change.
Yeah, nice, nice.
Yeah, and yeah, so that's gonna be out eventually, but it's
Okay.
it's not public yet.
So as far as the actual physically being at the festival and
Hmm.
then the screenings and you go up to talk
The Q
to,
and A's.
yeah, like the Q&A
Hmm.
section, because I'm asking because I feel like I struggle with that aspect of it, but
Uh,
how do you feel, like do you enjoy the moment getting up on stage and talking about it, or
no. I mean, I'm mostly I don't like a ton of attention. I do like having my film being recognized, and I do think sometimes it's fun if like people ask really thoughtful questions or like ask questions that are specific to your film. I think that's fun. But most of the time, it's like you're there with six other people because it's a short film block, and you have to answer the same question, and everybody has the same answer. So it's like not particularly fun, but it can be. I think it can be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's also practice, like, like being here with you too, like I get a little bit nervous, but eventually, like, I will have feature films that maybe I will do a press circuit for someday, and this will be a part of it. And practicing that skill set of public speaking, I think, is good. It's good for us.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is good for us.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Mm-hmm.
How you hold yourself in those, and the Q&A should be consistent. Or like, because the whole goal of the festival too is, like you said, you want to meet cool
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
You want to attract people to. It's like, oh, those 6 people that talked through the shorts,
Mm-hmm.
they all kind of had the same answer, but this one person stood out for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
based on maybe how she. I don't know. I don't
Presented
know. I
herself.
felt connected in some way. The authenticity was there, or the passion was there, and
Yeah.
it was succinct. I don't know. Whatever people look for. I don't know what people look for. Um,
Who knows? Yeah. But anywho, it is the overall experience of attending festivals where your project is screening, I think, is I enjoy it. I do like festivals. I
mhm.
do like going to them. And I do like it overall.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I guess I'm thinking about myself here, but
Of course. That's
I'm
okay.
thinking about I am because I don't know. Okay, in reference to like what we were talking about earlier with the ladder of the director
Mm-hmm.
thing and learning how to attract the monies and the
Mm-hmm.
actors and stuff. I feel like it's all in the presentation,
Mm-hmm.
and the Q&A aspect kind of plays into that. For me, it's like it's practice, entertaining essentially is how I kind of see it. It's like I like the idea. I've always I don't know. I've
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, how you are perceived matters, unfortunately. Like, so, like, I
it
feel
makes
like,
sense.
yeah, to attract name talent or to attract investors or people who want to bolster you up in your career, like, I do think there's like a little dance to that too, like us presenting ourselves in a way that is, I guess, respectful, or not respectful, but more like, I'm doing this thing. Look, it's cool. Like, I'm like making stuff and people are recognizing me, and I'm up on a Q&A, and I'm working. I'm a director. Like, I'm honest to God, I'm a director. Like, if I feel like social media and showcasing that we do things like that, I do think plays a part in um how we create those connections going forward.
Yeah, I guess there's one thing I I know that the way that I'm just analyzing myself again here.
Sure.
This is a little vent session for me too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is I feel very let's just say I feel very confident as like I know how to direct on set. I know
Yeah.
I understand the operations. I know how to see things through and get things done. Blah blah blah.
Hmm.
But then off of set, like I feel like I have the tendency to undersell. Like I prefer to
Hmm.
like almost undersell and over, under the classic term is like undersell and over deliver.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess I like the idea of more tapping into like confident Eddie and just
Yeah.
show off that like show that I don't
Well,
know
just
like
so that, I mean, there's a lot of people like you, and but just think about the people who are opposite, who like maybe don't know a lot about filmmaking or telling a good story, but can sell anything.
yep
Yeah, like,
exactly
so, bring that energy in. That's what I try to tell myself. Before being a filmmaker, I was in luxury retail, and I learned a lot, about luxury or about people just in general, because I worked on Melrose Place, where there were people who would come in and buy like a gown for the Grammys, or like they were going to the Oscars or whatever. So I met a lot of the people in the industry who were working as a writer, like on Gossip Girl or whatever. And you learn over time that they're just regular people. They're not like any smarter than you. They're just regular people. And then I also learned that people will buy anything. A $500 planner, a $500 scarf, $20,000 wedding dress. You know, like there's a market for like
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
and so I try to bring that energy now as I'm going into like this finding investor mode, and then also reminding myself like I am a director, like you know, get to the creative, like you know, make sure that that's a focus in what I'm doing too. And but it's hard. It's like we have to do all of the things. So
Well said. Well said.
yeah,
Luxury retail.
yeah, I was in luxury retail.
Nice.
Hmm.
I think that translates well.
Maybe I
To
did.
me,
Yeah, I mean, I
yeah.
did also study public relations in college. I didn't go to school for film. I learned film on my own after I found my passion. But yeah, I think now that I'm a filmmaker, what I learned in communications and PR in college at Cal State Fullerton, what I learned as like in retail and honestly in the restaurant business too, because I was a server, it's like it all applies
Hmm. Hmm.
to what we're doing now. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was thinking luxury retail specifically because it seems like this a similar market to when you're trying to find money. But I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I
Maybe
guess
not. Maybe
I
not.
mean,
I don't know.
you're just selling you're selling things that people want to buy.
Yeah.
I was telling a friend the other day because we are talking about pitching to investors, and when I talk to investors now, I've been talking about multiple projects, and in my head, I'm like, I think, and I told my friend, I think it works in my favor because instead of saying, "Do you want to buy this shirt?" Yes or no, it's like, "Do you want to buy this blue shirt or do you want to buy this pink shirt?" And I think it helps a little bit.
Doing a little of assuming the sale as
Yeah,
they
it's like
call it.
the blue shirt's for you, like the pink one, maybe not, but the blue one is for
Yeah,
you.
yeah. It's like I know you're buying
Yeah,
something.
we're buying something here.
I know
You
you're
want this
just
shirt.
just which one, just pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a tactic.
Yeah, and I knew it very well, so I feel like I think I'll be okay, but it's a matter of time. Yeah,
Yeah.
time will tell.
I don't like when people assume the sale with me. Like I catch it right away. I'm like, I didn't say I was buying this, and now because you said that, I'm leaving.
But sometimes, so like same, like the same. If I feel like I'm like they're pulling one over, but sometimes when I feel like buying something, like maybe I want what they're selling, that I'll let it happen. And I think that's what happens too in
Yeah, yeah,
luxury
yeah,
retail.
yeah. It's a little dance.
Yeah, they all know you're selling up, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're pretty much at time.
Anyway, yeah, we talked about buying shirts.
That's
At
great.
the
That's great. That's great. Let's close this off with just clarifying where people can
Mm.
follow, keep in the know, hear about all things Sylvia Ray.
Oh my gosh. If you're interested, my Instagram handle is Sylvia Lynn, SYLB as in boy, IALIN, because that's the way my mom says my name.
Nice.
And then my website, Sylvia Ray Directs, and that's with a V, Sylvia, SYLVIA. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it.
Great. I was like, cut yourself off. But all
Yeah.
right, sweet. Well, thanks for hosting me in your lovely space.
Sure. Thanks for talking to me.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. All right, well, that's the show, everybody. Thanks so much. Bye bye.